stuck here. The cops won't bother me. Oh man, it is so hot, guys. I spent most of the day working on that Kimco. There we go. Start this bike. The battery's a little bit weak, but it starts right up though. There's a very nice pattern to that that light. I'm in a garage right now, but it's still daylight. This is a tall bike. It kind of feels like when I hit the tops of the garages. You know, I was thinking, what is the purpose of getting a BMW GS for 10,000 used as opposed to a Tenere used for 6,000? And you know, I was kind of thinking about it, and there's nothing wrong with a GS if it's working. You know, if there's no issues with it, it's a great bike. It handles well, it's got the weight down low. But here's a motorcyclist. But do you really get like $5,000 more out of it than the Tenere 1200? See, that's the thing. I just don't think you do. Yeah, I think this bike is very good. It surprised me because all of these reviews that I read online from these manufacturers, you know, they just talk about how this bike is not very good. And I think it's kind of like what happens with Top Gear. If Jeremy Clarkson blesses a car and says it's a great car, then the sales go up in price. But if he decides to bash it, then the price goes down. And that's what happened with this bike. These journalists bashed it, and then all of a sudden this bike got a reputation for being bad. But I think it's a very undeserving reputation, just from riding for a short amount of time. I can tell you that this bike is probably a little bit better than the GS in terms of usability, but also reliability. That's something that journalists never account for. They never account for owning a motorcycle for any length of time. They don't account for ease of maintenance. And these are things that a lot of riders that put tons of miles on bikes do want, but often it's neglected because people just want the experience. You know, you often hear of riders that have like 100, 150,000 miles, but the thing is, it's very easy to put 150,000 miles on a big behemoth like the Tenere or the GS because they're so comfortable. It's such a large engine, and I think they're reliable. At least the Tenere is extremely reliable from what I've heard. That you don't really need much. You just kind of have to hang on. There's very skill needed to put 200,000 miles on an ST1300, for example, because it's almost like a car. It's comfortable. It's like a couch. But if you tell me that, why is this guy going? I'm going to turn left eventually. Jesus. You know, if you tell me that you put 100,000 miles on a Ninja 250, now that is very impressive. Yeah, I just don't see what you get, or at least what you get more out of your money if you get a GS over a Tenere. You know, the only thing I would pick is perhaps, if I could get a better deal, I'd get a Africa Twin. Just because I like the styling a lot more. The KTM is cool too, but they're expensive and they are very high maintenance. I do see a lot of guys with BMWs with 100,000 miles, and that's really nice, except when you realize that they spent a lot of money maintaining it. But on a Tenere, you can just keep it running, you know? You don't have to go out of your way to do crazy maintenance. It just works. Yeah, I think I'd pick maybe a KTM Adventure if I had plenty of money, and the Africa Twin, and then the Tenere. And the only reason I would do it in that order is that if I had plenty of money. But because I don't have plenty of money, this is the reason I pick the Tenere first. So if I don't have plenty of money, I go Tenere first. Second, V-Strom. And I think I put the V-Strom in the second place because of the shaft drive. The shaft drive on the Tenere is world more usable than the chain drive. The chain drive is great, but it's simple, easy to maintain. But man, it's so much easier living with the shaft drive. No restriction. Actually, yeah, it feels way more power. Yeah, way more power than the touring mode. That was almost a full throttle response, and I got up to 60 miles an hour. Very smooth bike.
What do you think the chances are of a guy like you and a girl like me ending up together?